Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Reaver Express. It's been, what has it been, guys? A month?
Hmm.
We missed last week uh, due to Origins, but we are back tonight with a vengeance. Get my cup of tea.
Great
Thank you.
delivery.
Yeah. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Let's introduce our players here. Well, my name is Matt. I am Judge Grape. I will be your judge for this evening as we play some DCC live play action. And we'll go with Cirrus. You want to introduce yourself and what character are you going to be playing tonight, Cirrus?
My name is Cirrus, and I'm playing the elegant Daphne Blake, the lone survivor of the Scooby Gang, who has been horribly corrupted, disformed, and broken by magic in DCC. She is a wonderful example of how wonderful, beautiful, horrible, and scary magic within DCC is all at the same time.
What kind of corruption does she have?
Well, first of all, she's still, if I haven't complained about it recently, she's still getting better from all that spell burn from the zero level funnel. You may have heard me whine about that. But right now, she has this great big claw on her right hand. And whenever she spell burns going forward, that spell burn, that extra sacrifice is manifested by her doing that damage to herself with that giant claw that she's got. Yeah.
Lobster. Yeah, so if you guys don't want, I mean, see, they went into the funnel with that same mindset. I'm gonna spell burn like crazy at the end, kill the boss. Oh, but now it's a campaign, so now you got to deal with all that spell burn. Um, Gossamer, how are you tonight?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to be back. It does feel like forever. 4 weeks is a long time, it seems. But yeah, I'm excited to play. Gossamer, I am playing Burkham Clankin, the dwarf. He's a miner, so we're actually in his stomping grounds right now. And yeah, Burkham is your maybe typical dwarf. He's a bit standoffish, but he's very much a team player kind of guy and a bit of a leader. So he enjoys being with his buddies and helping out his fellow miners right now and seeing what's up.
Outstanding. And Lou, how are you doing tonight?
Doing great, Matt. Looking forward to getting back into the game here and seeing what's down in those mines.
As am I.
So,
As am I. Who do you got adventuring in the mines this evening?
I'm playing the part of Vasici, a very treacherous thief who has sold his own indentured servant to gain back his human qualities. And we'll see if he has a change of character at some point in the campaign, but I'm not seeing it. He's liking the play from the shadows here.
All right. And last but not least, Mark, how are you doing this evening?
Doing well, thank you. I'm Mark, Organic Bite on Discord. I'll be playing Barclay tonight, and Barclay is our cleric who is, he's a little short on luck right now. He's got a luck of 3, he's got a stamina of 4, hit points of 5, but that's all good. He's optimistic. He's got his goddess Carpessa to look over him, and yeah, things have just got to get better because if they get any worse, he's just gone. So, anyways, optimistic about tonight. Ready to play.
I mean, it can't get much worse than that, right?
Ah,
Strength, stamina of 4.
stamina 4. Yeah.
And how many things in DCC do stamina damage? I mean, literally, like there's one in almost every module.
Well, is there a point where when I level up my hit points that I get less hit points each time? I don't think that's possible, but yeah, stamina 4 is pretty difficult, but it's all right. Made it this far. Gonna keep moving forward.
All right. Well, if we got a little recap, and tell me if I leave anything out, players. When we last left them, they were in the town of Fallon, and the screen you guys should see right now in the roll 20 is of the country of North Haven. Um, and over to the right of that is the township of Fallon. They had to deal with a couple of residual monsters that were released from the Carnival of the Damned. After that, they kind of relaxed a little bit, checked out the job board on the tavern, got some local news, and decided to go speak to the priest. And he had posted a job for a simple delivery that he was requiring copper from the mines to craft more holy symbols, especially due to this evil demonic carnival showing up. Excuse me. So our players traveled west toward the hammered mines, and they are called the hammered mines because every so often on the wind you hear the sounds of hammers and anvils, the sounds of forging and mining and picks, and it's constant, and as soon as you try to listen in, the sound's gone. It's just one of those sounds that you barely catch on the wind, but it is everywhere in the hammered mountains. So, unbeknownst to what the sounds are, they arrived at the Pinder mines, and this is where our friend Barclay the dwarf works. And he went to pick up. Well, do you want to let us know, Sarah, how it went
Well, we
when you?
before we got there, we encountered those bandits. That was a big waylay on our travels to the mine.
This is true. There was a little kind of hiccup where someone from Fallon posing as a friend coaxed them into a battle with some bandits. Now they could have just gave up everything they had, and the bandits would have let them go on their merry way. But no,
Not a chance.
you guys wanted to start a fight,
We have
and then
Daphne.
we
We're
got
we're
to the
good.
mine. Why don't you let
They can take our hit points, but they can't take our gold.
you guys came out on top, killed all those bandits. Hopefully, there won't be any repercussions from that because there's kind of hints that they were from a larger gang. But once you guys got to the mines, what happened after that?
Um, yeah, well, we met the foreman, and he we told him that we were here to collect the copper for Father what was his name? Father Xander. And but he shorted us. I think he only gave us about a third of what was we were expecting, and said that they're gonna need a few days to get the rest of it together. Um, so we are kind of here for a couple of nights, I think, and we were gonna try to figure out what we wanted to do from that. From Burkham's point of view, uh, he has no reason to distrust his foreman. Like I said, these are the people that he works with, and so he's kind of happy to help out if he can, and um, try and make the commitment. I know that when we were talking to Father Xander, we were able to negotiate one extra day, I think, from on our delivery. So we've got a little bit of time, but we I think have only 4 days total to get our delivery back if we want our full payment.
And yeah, so I think you're right. I think it's 4 days, and I think the payment was 100 gold pieces. Is that what you guys negotiated?
Yeah, 20 up front, and then the other if we deliver it on time.
And so evening is
Travel.
falling. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say travel time there was a full day, right?
Just under a day, I believe.
Just under. Okay.
And that's only because you guys kind of got a little held up by bandits, or you could have made it there even earlier, I think. But it was right around a day's travel time. And, as evening is falling around the camp, you guys are all sitting around speaking with the workers, kind of enjoying a meal. The ale is flowing. When the foreman kind of pulls Burkham to the side, and the foreman's name is Morik Stonefoot. I'm not sure if I told you guys that last time or not. But Morik, let me talk to you over here, lad. And kind of pulls you off to the side. Burkham, do you go with him?
Oh yeah, instantly.
Okay. I didn't want to say anything in front of the boys, but you can see the crew's down. And now that you notice it, you'd say probably about half the workers that you worked with previously are not there. And you really didn't notice because everybody usually runs shifts in the mines. So you just assumed they might have been in the mines working their shift.
Right.
Over the past week or so, just more and more people have been up and leaving or disappearing. The, the mountains got them scared, I think. I don't know what's going on, but we found trail going into the mountains further and followed it, but it led nowhere. But I didn't want to spook the lads, but there are some weird things going on.
Weird things like what? There's always sounds. We know that. Nothing new.
People disappearing, and all their gear is left. Just up and gone in the middle of the night, like a banshee got 'em.
Curious. While they're in the mine?
No, no. Well, they're sleeping. Everyone's resting in their cots. And we wake up the next morning and they're gone.
Oh dear.
And that's why we don't have the load ready yet. I'm short on crew members.
Well, who's missing?
Well, you know Stinky Joe, right?
Of course.
You and him work side by side. Charles is gone. Three-Toe Emmett. And he goes through a list of, probably about 7 or 8 people.
Well, Three-Toed Emmett would never leave without his stuff.
Hey, he left his Bible right there under his pillow. Takes that thing everywhere with him.
Has anyone seen anything?
The only thing we saw was the trail going up higher into the mountains. It looked like a scuffle, like someone was being dragged. But I don't have time to go chasing everyone. I've got a mine to run.
Well, the company I came with, they seem like a pretty able crew. Perhaps we can help.
I'd be mighty appreciative. I mean, anyway, it's going to take us at least 2 days to get the rest of the copper loaded up. But after that, it should be good to go.
2 days should work for our timeline. I appreciate the extra effort you're putting in.
Well, have a good rest, and I wish you the best of luck. I hope you find the rest of the boys.
Well, we can. No, head back.
Cirrus, Lou, Mark, do you guys want to do anything by the campfire? As you're enjoying some outstanding pork and beans.
Are there miners that are off shift hanging there with us?
There are some miners there hanging out.
All right. I'll kind of ask them about, some of the rumors I've heard about the mines, and I think if I got my information right, these are the same mines where the quality of gems that they've been mining out are less than what they used to be.
Correct. It's
Okay.
mainly a copper mine, but they do pull some gems out of there. And, from your knowledge, once they hit like a gem vein, the quality used to be pretty good, back in the day, a few months ago, and it's kind of steadily declined as they've mined further and went deeper.
All right. So yeah, I'll kind of inquire about some of that.
It's a curse, I tell you. This mine is cursed. The mountain's cursed. I don't know why I stay.
It is cursed all of a sudden, huh? What would have caused that all of a sudden?
It's the Tanaheim clan. They've infected it.
Yeah, man, I'm not familiar about these clans.
Tanaheim, man. Don't you remember the stories? 200-300 years ago, the Tanaheim clan ruled this area. They say the sounds of the Hammered Mountains didn't make a peep until the Tanaheim clan came here and established their hierarchy, and they dealt in evil magic. And he's kind of saying this low, but Mark and Steers can catch a word here and there, and a couple other miners, kind of make holy signs as the mention of it. They're definitely looking over their shoulder to make sure Morik isn't around. But luckily, Morik's not talking to Burke.
Okay, so supposing that this is a curse that has come up, why now? Why is the curse suddenly agitated? Why is it coming to a froth now?
No,
You
no.
guys,
The curse has always been here. Another one leans forward. I heard the Tanaheim clan was wiped out entirely in one single night. A line of dwarves like that who've lived hundreds, perhaps thousands of years. Master craftsmen. Their magical weapons completely wiped out. They had to be able to defend themselves with all those magic items they made.
this is impossible. And it take a great army to kill off that many dwarves, huh?
Great army or a great evil. Serious, Mark, you want to get in on this conversation at all?
So around the campfire, Daphne is preoccupied with trying to figure out what exactly is in these beans. What exactly am I eating? Who made this? Is this safe to be eating? And every now and then she'll hear a little bit about this dark magic stuff and this Tanaheim clan. If she hears that, has she ever heard of that clan at all before? Or anything about that whatsoever?
Do you have knowledge of that? Just general knowledge?
Well, she was a beekeeper, so I'm gonna say most likely not, unless they were into evil beekeeping. Were they evil beekeepers?
I don't think they were consumers of that much honey, so I'm gonna say no.
So, yeah, can I make an untrained intelligence check to figure that out? See if I know anything about
Absolutely,
that.
absolutely.
All right. So that is a 6.
You want to stay in a 6?
Oh yeah, 6 fine. 6 is fine for untrained.
You've never heard them before in your life.
I'll say I've never heard of them before. Can anyone tell me more about these really creepy Panalunahine clan people? Because she's far away. She did not hear their name properly.
One of the miners next to you, and he says, "Don't say the name too loud." They, they made a in order to make the magical weapons they created. Magical weapons were of outstanding quality, could shear a man in half. But then one night, the demon got the better of them and killed them all. And, he kind of leans in real close as he says that. But if you want to sleep next to me, I'll make sure I protect
So I'm not even going to ask if he's handsome. He's been on the job site for an extended period of time. And if he's like any guy I've ever known that's been camping for an extended period of time, he's not bathing. So I thank him for his interest, and I tell him that I'm not feeling very well. And I
Talk to
obviously
the
show
claw.
my claw hand here.
Yes, well, anyway, everyone knows those dwarven engineers were masters of traps. The hall's been lost for hundreds of years. No one even goes up into the Hammer Mountains anymore. But if you did, watch out for those dwarves are sneaky. And he looks over his shoulder to make sure Morik isn't watching.
And why are you whispering again? You don't.
Morik doesn't like us talking about the rumors. He wants to keep a tight ship. I don't want my pay docked again.
Yeah, but you don't see any of their remains or work in the mines here. It's all up the mountain somewhere.
No, we've never seen anything like that down here. I mean, it's easier just to mine at the base of the mountain, but everyone knows if you go up higher, that's probably where the good veins of ore are, but much more dangerous.
Mark, I'm going to kind of lean in and wink at Barclay and do this.
The
Okay.
flavor, the flavor you were asking about in the beans. Elk meat. Good.
Oh, elk. I didn't know you could eat those.
Anything else you guys want to discuss before you go to sleep? All right. If nobody else has anything else, I guess you guys bed down for the night. And I think we already gave you your point of stamina back for that. So the morning comes, and what do you guys want to do?
I immediately pray because the judge did not ask us about watch order for the night. I am grateful, very grateful for that.
You're in a secure location.
That's safe here.
Nothing
Uh,
happened.
Is it safe to say that Berkham would have come back and told us about the conversation too that night before sleep?
Good question,
Or no?
Burkham.
Yeah, would we have I guess are we all sleeping in the same location?
Yeah, he kind of puts. I
Camp,
mean,
little camp.
there's extra empty bunks. It's kind of one big bunkhouse. So you're kind of sleeping with everybody. Only Morik kind of has his own separate room.
Yeah. So if yeah, when we came back together, Burkham would kind of take the three of you aside and relay what Morik had said, and he would say like, he wants to keep it hush hush. He doesn't want to spook the rest of the miners. Labor is tight as enough as it is, especially if we want to get that shipment. But I think we might want to help.
You think we go up the trail then? Is that
Before we go much further, we would have conveyed about the Tanai clan back to her as well.
Okay.
She might actually, being a dwarf, she might actually have a little more knowledge about them than what we had a chance at. I don't know.
Um, I don't think I've heard of the 10 of that clan.
I want you to make me an intelligence check,
Okay.
and you get to do it trained.
Alrighty. She reigned with my 7 intelligence. Hey, 17.
A 17, you have heard them just kind of in passing as stories, rumors.
Mm-hmm.
You know they existed about 300 years ago. They were a prominent dwarven clan, great manufacturers of magical weapons. Um, but then you heard, well, great manufacturer of weapons, outstanding quality. But then you heard they began manufacturing magical weapons. And suddenly, soon after that, in maybe soon for a dwarf, 20, 30 years' time, the entire clan disappeared in one night. Rumored to be completely wiped out. The place was cursed. Adventurers have sought, what happened there. They looked for the lost Tanhan mines, but they were a very secretive clan, so nobody really knows where it is or how to get there. Um, the other thing you've heard was that they sacrificed their own kind to empower the weapons.
Yeah, so he would relay that, most of which kind of confirming the rumors of what was heard around the campfire, um, adding in the sacrificed bit. But I think he would also like shrug it off as like, these are just rumors. Like, I've heard so many rumors of the source of these sounds in the mountains. Like I told you before, it could have been that necromancer that was fabled, or um, this. There's so many stories, and he would list off a couple of different ones he's heard. I
Well,
think it would be best to follow leads that are concrete. We know these people have disappeared up the trail.
All right, what do
That's
you
a
guys
good.
think? Well, go ahead, Lou. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, yeah. Let's we'll go check this trail out, see if there's anything we can deduce.
I think it's the best thing to do. Not only are we assuring the safety of the miners, but it's probably extremely safe for the majority of us because even if this Tannheim clan is involved with it, they only sacrifice dwarves, and most of the party isn't dwarves, so we should be fine.
True, if the rumors are to be believed, they only sacrifice their own dwarves.
Hmm.
But the miners that have gone missing, those were all dwarves, right?
Not all of them. Some of them are humans.
Oh, okay.
Mark, you're destroying my logic.
There's an assortment of workers here. And speaking of the workers, the bell kind of rings outside. All right, boys, let's go. We need to get that load packed up. And Morik takes the remaining miners into the mine. Before he does so, he comes over to Burkham. Burkham, talk to you one more time, lad. You're going to go up the mountain. Here, take these. You'll probably need them more than we would. And he gives you a small hammered steel case. Opening it up, you find two small vials filled with a pinkish liquid. And that's in case of emergencies. If we ever have a mine collapse or anything and we need to stabilize someone. There is an insert for the 4 vials, but there's only 2 left. And they will heal 1d4 hit points.
Are you sure you don't want to keep these? We have a cleric. I don't want you to
think
lose any more miners.
You might need them more than I will. The mines are pretty stable. I know what I'm doing.
Of course,
And
of course.
if you can give them back to me when you come back down. We haven't had an accident on the job site in 113 days.
How silly of me. And he kind of looks a little bashful at questioning the foreman. Thank you.
So you guys heading up the mountain? Anything else you guys need to do?
Just wanted to establish an order here.
Barclay would have prayed this morning, switching out one of his spells.
Okay.
So I'm gonna switch out second sight with word of command.
All right. And just so you know what Mark's talking about, everybody, here on the Reaver Express, Mark can change out any of his spells with the existing 8 clerical spells each day with some prayer. So he can prepare different ones. That's from the Raw show, and we're going to see how it plays out. Lou, what is the marching order going to be?
Good question.
I think just as well with these healing potions, if it works for everybody, I think Burkham would pocket one for himself, and then he would give Daphne the second one to hold on to.
Seems fair.
Daphne, note that on your sheet.
Thank you, because although I like Mark's healing, or Burkham's healing as much as possible, I've noticed that, Barclay's healing as much as possible. I've noticed that Barclay's deity is sometimes fickle, so I appreciate that.
As are all deities.
And Barclay
right.
does have the new armor that we were all trying to fit on the different dwarves and realized it didn't work for anybody. So he's got that new armor put on.
Excellent. So who's gonna go?
You guys want me to go ahead? That's just getting at that. You want me to try to scout ahead using my move silently or whatever the equivalent is?
I think that would be a good idea.
Okay. So I'll try to keep about maybe a 30-foot lead on them. Just kind of seeing what's coming around the bend.
All right. And who's next? And there's enough room for all 3 to walk side by side if you want to. Tell me how you want the formation to look.
So maybe,
what are the sizes of the pit traps? I'm just
So why don't we have Vasici do point, and then the 3 of us walk side by side with Daphne in the middle.
Okay. Is that
I
good
like that.
for? All right. Sounds good.
Matt, I can assume I healed 1 point of spell burn, correct?
I think I already gave that back to you.
All right.
think I gave that back to you last time, but yeah, go ahead. I'm a kind and benevolent judge.
I'll be at a net negative by the end of the session. It's okay.
You're gonna need it. So anyway, you guys begin to head up the mountain, and the way is taxing. I mean, it's hard work on your calves walking uphill. And after about 4 hours, the trail kind of breaks off into two directions, east and west. You haven't really noticed any signs of struggle or anything like that. The tracks that Morik was talking about really long washed away. Um, but about 4 hours up the mountain, it's starting to get a little steeper now. You're coming up out of the foothills. You can see the tall mountain range in front of you, and you have a choice, left or right.
Is there any discernible difference between the two paths?
Left looks like it heads kind of wrapping around to the west of the mountains, uh, more toward the town of Skurd, and the left the right path is the one that heads to the west. The left path seems like it kind of keeps more in the foothills right along the base of the higher peaks.
All right, I'll take a stick and I'll draw an arrow pointing to the right, which is the one that is going towards the town and kind of up the mountain, and then I'll proceed that way.
And you'll proceed that way?
That was the so would which way is the mine kind of relative to where we are?
Is below.
The mine you just came from?
Yeah, where all the workers went into.
All right, so let's zoom in on our little map right here. And we have a small little party token. You guys have begun to head off this direction. And you're getting kind of in the base of this area right here. So just drawing on there freehand. The one path looks like it kind of loops around this way. The path to the right, and then the path to the left looks like it kind of skirts the bottom of the mountain range heading south. So you got the black path and the purple path.
Okay. And Skurd is the where that tower is? Oh no, sorry. Skurd is to the
Further
other
to
side
the
of the path.
west. Yep.
Gotcha.
That was just kind of my directional to tell you guys which way the path went.
Right. So that's the right path that goes that way, the black.
So Lou, you're going to the right path, correct?
Yeah, and drawing an arrow so they know which way I took.
All right. Oh, I'm sure they can. Unless you're hiding, I'm sure they can see you.
I am moving silently, but yeah, not hiding.
It's not difficult when you started, but it's getting a little more harder now as you're kind of getting a little exhausted. It's about noon. The sun is beginning to be directly overhead. It is a beautiful sunny day, and that just means the heat is kind of beating down on you. It's early spring, I believe. So it's still cool days, not too hot yet. But as you guys make your way further up the mountain path, you come to the first signs of what you assume can be something happened here, which is a large pool of dried blood on the rocks.
All right. Anything I can deduce from it? I mean, if it's pooled here, does it look like something had been laying here? And if so, can I see where it was drug off to? Or
Give me an intelligence check. You got that intelligence check coming, Lou? Under ability. There you go. Single digit 5. You can see that the blood is dried, It looks probably at least a few days old in your estimation. Um, that's about it. Not much else.
When the rest of us kind of catch up, and Burkham would be kind of like putting his water skin away after taking a swig, and um, this is just one patch of blood. Is there is there any?
And I would probably, after seeing that, I would probably move backwards to them, kind of meet them halfway, and tell them, "Hey, up ahead, there's blah blah blah." So we're all there together.
It's more than a few drops, so it looks like there's a significant pool of blood. So something was killed here and let out a lot of blood.
Barclay's going to see if he can tell if it's animal blood or blood of a human, demi-human.
How would you be able
Having
to tell?
having treating people and laying on hands, he's going to see if he can, by the quantity of blood and the color of it, maybe see if he can tell if it's people blood.
It's pretty iffy, but I mean, blood is blood. But give it a try. Judging from the quantity, give me an intelligence check there, Mark.
All right.
Judging from the
13.
quantity, you really can't tell if it's human or animal. If it, it's not a small animal. You know it's not a rabbit or a fox. If it is an animal, it would be something larger and significant, like a stag, maybe a small bear, something around that size, or human. So large animal or human.
Well, let's keep our wits about us. If there doesn't seem to be any like trails going off any which way, I think we should just keep going, following the trail.
Not that you have found yet. Um, Mark only investigated the blood though, and Lou rolled a 5. So
Yeah. I mean, Burkham's looking around. He's not really skilled at tracking, but like he's just looking for obvious signs of anything branching away from this trail. But otherwise, he would suggest continuing forward.
well,
Barclay would. Sorry, go
go
ahead.
ahead. Give
I
me an
said
intelligence check, and Barclay, what are you going to do?
I say Barclay would be looking to see, if the blood if something is killed and it bleeds out, it usually drips blood in some direction. So he's going to see if he can see blood dripping and trailing in any direction and try and follow it.
Okay.
Trained or trained?
Trained.
12.
You're just kind of trying to search and assess the area. With a 12, you do find some like deep rivets in some of the gravel on the trail, kind of like that might have been from a heel print from someone kicking. Kind of off to the side, maybe a couple feet away from where the bloodletting is. Mark, you can find that the trail of blood does continue up the path that you guys are currently on.
You, you see
Not a
this,
lot of it, but there's definitely drops.
the blood leads up, continue on. You see the droplets. They head up the trail. So
These markings as well.
I'll carry my dagger unsheathed now and proceed ahead of them if that's still the plan.
Sounds good.
So after about 10, 15 minutes, the blood disappears. There's no more blood trail to follow. And the trail gets much more rocky. It's barely a trail now as it's winding its way up into the rocks. And at some points, you have to climb, vertically to get up some of these huge rock formations. Um, but heading up, you think you see smoke in the distance, kind of off to your west, Lou.
Can I make out where it's coming from? Is there any like obvious encampment there or structure, like chimney or hole that it's coming out of?
No, because it's above you still, and you're looking at
Okay.
it from kind of underneath. But you see a small whitish gray strand of smoke, probably about 200 or 300 yards away.
Okay.
And
And the trail ends here like abruptly. Like does it look like there's been a landslide that covered it, or did it look like it just never went on to begin with?
It still goes on, but it's much more rocky, and if
Okay.
you can call it a trail, but it's not like a path that you can walk on. You have to
Mm-mm.
maneuver some of the mountain to continue.
All right. Well, I think
the
I'll wait here for them to catch up then.
the uh, the sound that is heard here of the hammering that echoes, is it still around us? Do we still hear it? Has it changed any as we're traveling up this mountain?
It has not changed. It's remained exactly the same. It is still there. It hasn't gotten louder and hasn't gotten quieter, and you don't hear it all the time. But every so often, when the wind is blowing down from the mountain, you think you catch it, just like tink, 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 and then kind of fades with the wind as gone. It's constant, not constantly playing, but constantly around
Yeah.
at points.
Burkham is
Uh,
gonna pull out his grappling hook and just kind of use it to kind of help his handholds as we kind of start to climb these rocks.
okay. And
Um,
you guys continuing on. Jasichi is waiting for you guys to catch up. You were going to say something, Mark?
Barclay, sensing like we're getting close to something, he is going to think we need a little extra protection. He's going to call on his goddess Carpessa for some divine fruit to help us on our way, to perhaps aid us. Um, Thinking something up ahead, we might be getting close, and perhaps divine fruit would help us in some way. And so, divine fruit, just for everybody, is it's kind of a um, custom custom call for assistance from the goddess Carpessa, that can come in different forms of fruits that may help us in different ways.
Well, I could go for a fine cantaloupe right now. Yes. Mhm.
Okay,
Excelente.
so this is one of your deity specific spells that'll take the place of one of your invoked patrons. I think you have two a day, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yep.
All right, so give me a casting roll.
Right. Let me just get the spell. Is there a general cast button?
No, we didn't add that spell in there. You
I
can roll a
didn't
d20 plus
add.
your personality, plus your level.
Yeah. I'm just going to click on one of the existing spells, even though I'm not rolling it. Make it simple on that. All right.
That'll
So
work. Nice.
17.
Pretty good.
Yeah. So then, for divine fruit, I roll a d7 to see what Carpessa, calling out to his goddess to see what Carpessa provides us, holding his palms out. Carpessa, please give us something to help us on our way. And a 2 is a piece of ginger materializes in his hands. It's just, the ginger. If you all know ginger, it it can help and provide extra strength. And so, usually this is good. This what we have here. So, you know, s- sometimes it's not perfect, but I'm pretty sure, like, if any of you could use an extra boost of strength, s- uh, just eat this ginger and it'll give you a bonus. And looking to everybody, does anybody want? I could certainly use it, but if somebody, a fighter, maybe looking for a little extra bonus in strength, I'd offer it to any of you.
Yeah.
I only have a strength of 4, which probably doesn't bode well for mountain climbing.
I mean,
Be
Burkham
willing
would
to consume.
he's like, I I have my strength. I don't need any more. If others are, he would always defer to other people first. But in the end, if you want him to have it, he would take it.
Uh, well, could Vizici use it and to boost your
Yeah,
strength? I
Bergen would
think.
probably slap Besici on the back,
Yeah.
probably
Oh!
not almost
Uh,
knocking you over. Like,
what do you?
perhaps the skinny one could use
Ah!
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you say, Vizici? You want to try this? The
I
vid,
would not deny blessing of the god, eh?
yeah, yeah. Usually, it gives you good strength. So it's a little, ginger's a little spicy. So, but it'll give you a bonus, which is a +1 bonus to strength, any strength-based action or check. And so if you'd like to eat it, you do then have to roll. You also have to roll a 1d7, like I did.
Okay. Should this be something that I should wait on, or is it how long is the duration? Would you have any idea of that sort of thing?
Yeah, you have to consume it now, or it just converts to a regular
Okay.
piece of.
All right. Well, let's roll a d7. All right. It's been a month. It's r/d7, or
Yeah.
how
Yeah,
do you do the shortening?
/r space 1d7. And just to tell you guys while he's rolling that, so where the smoke is coming from, you've got about 100-foot vertical ascent that you'll have to traverse, or you can kind of go more toward the left and kind of climb up rocks, but that's probably going to take you another hour just to get up that 100 feet because it goes, more further to the west, more further to the south, and then kind of goes up into levels, and then you'd have to backtrack.
All right. So you rolled a 7, which is good. So then you get the benefits of the ginger, which is a +1 bonus to strength-based actions and checks.
All right.
Cool.
All right. So, do you guys want to go up the 100-foot vertical ascent? And if so, how? Or do you want to go an hour out of your way, uh, the safer way?
So, how long have we been traveling so far today?
Probably about 5 hours now. Say it's probably around noon, 1 o'clock. Um, what do you guys think?
Mm, kind of conscious of the time. I would probably be in favor of climbing. I mean, I have a grappling hook and some rope. Um,
I've got some rope as well. I think if we kind of tie between us so that we can help one another,
mhm.
Yep.
i.e., so you guys can help me, be a good idea.
We do have a dwarf who might be able to mightily throw the rope 100 feet up the rock. Do you want to give it a go, Gosper?
Yeah. What would that be?
Give me a strength check and then
Strength.
your D die as well.
Strength. And is there just a deed button or
There is. It's under your class abilities.
wow? Deed die.
Nice.
Hey, nailed it.
So whipping the grappling hook around, you're no stranger to mountains. You release it right at the exact point. It arcs high up into the air, going over the 100-foot cliff right there. You feel it land with a satisfying thud. You give it a pull, and it kind of drags a little bit before it catches on something. Testing your weight on it, it seems like it's pretty locked into whatever it grabbed.
Nice
Ah,
job.
That's a
excellent.
boy. I rub his biceps, shoulders.
All
Thank you.
right.
Thank you.
So if you guys climb up, it's 100 feet. We'll say that's either 3 strength or agility checks, your choice. Um, and it would be 3 checks to get up to the top. Who's going first?
These are untrained or trained, or how do we decide on that?
They'd be trained, strength or agility. Agility, you're going to kind of use your legs more, wrap the rope around you, kind of like gym class. Strength, you're going to use your arms more and kind of power up.
Barclay will
Seems
say, like, How about if I wait, just in case somebody slips, I can help from below.
Mm,
It's not
smart.
much good if I'm up at the top.
I think Vasici should go first.
Sure, I'm gonna use the agility method. Here's my first one.
All right. You do have that bonus on your strength roll.
Ooh, I do, but that only brings me to -1, whereas at least I'm at 0 on agility.
If
So
you want to
I'm gonna
stay on a 3,
modify
though.
that 3. Now I got some luck. We're gonna burn tonight. But how much? Hmm. I think actually being the first roll, I might just just bite that. I climb up some and I slide down. What's my damage there? What happens?
So give me a d4 as you make it probably about 10 or 15 feet up. And as you're putting your foot on kind of a loose stone, it just falls out from underneath you. And as your hands are just rope burn all the way down for 2 points of damage, you catch yourself after about, a 7 foot drop, but your hands are completely tore up and raw. And so now, if you continue to climb, you're going to be at -1 die unless you heal your hand.
Whoa, easy there, Vasici.
uh, hmm.
Are you
Uh,
okay?
but perhaps I should watch one of you go up. I'm not an expert at this.
All right,
I'll
I'll
wait
show
for
you
one
how
of
to
them to
do
get
it.
up.
Oh
You
Oh
man.
want to stay in a
boy.
4.
Um. Uh.
I mean, it's not difficult. You have the rock there, but you'd think you need to burn more than a couple points of luck.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like
you
I
have
mean,
the rope there.
yeah. I mean, it doesn't seem like it should be that hard with lots of handholds and the rope.
So I'd
Um.
like to change the DC the next time we can. So let me know when we're before you roll again.
What do you want your final number to be, sir?
um I don't know. I mean, I don't want to burn 6 points, but
You think you'd have to burn more than a couple, but not much more than a couple.
all right, I will burn 3.
3, lucky number 7 it is. You traverse the first 30 feet, looking down, kind of picking your way up the mountain. You only got 2 more to go. So, Cirrus, you wanted to do something?
So yeah, so let's change let's see if we can change the numbers that we're rolling against here. I think actually, Sarah, you were holding some of my gear from I think last session because of Daphne's purple scores. If you're still doing that for this purposes, she has one of the small sack has spikes, a small hammer, and rope in it, so you can actually put some anchors as you're climbing up with the small spikes that are in there in the hammer.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
I'd recommend that we try to do that because you're going to make your next roll and then you're going to fail your third roll and then we're going to be rolling a new character.
Yep.
So, and I
Um,
think that if we can, how high do we have to go up, Matt? What's the
You got to
distance?
go 100 feet.
All right.
So we're moving 30 feet of movement. We're going to call it 3 checks to get 100
So
feet.
if you tie like a rope as you go every 10 feet, put a spike in there and tie some rope off, we might be pretty good.
yeah, I like that plan.
All right. So you hear Daphne call out from down below, securing your foot, wrapping your loop around your foot so you can kind of stabilize and stand for a minute. You reach in, grab the spikes out, put the hammer in your teeth, and you're ready to go for the next section.
All right.
Do you want to
I
stand a
will.
six?
I will burn a point of luck.
All right. 7 will get you up to the 60-foot mark, and you only have 40 feet left to go. One more check.
I'll punch in another stake, and then climb the rest of the way. Wow,
Oh
these are
my
incredible
God.
rolls. Holy crap.
So unfortunately, the stakes below you are going to help everyone else,
Yeah.
and they'll catch you, after a 10-foot jerk from where you last staked in. But to get up that last section, you want to stay
Yeah.
at a 5?
I will burn 2 more points of luck.
All right. So that's horrible rules. Holy cow. Um, Climbing up, you see kind of like a ledge, kind of opens up into a little kind of plateau right there. And there is a stone house at the top that looks very similar to this, partially buried into the mountainside.
Hmm.
And you don't see anyone present. There's a goat kind of tied around the side. But other than that, you just see a small little stream of smoke coming up out of the chimney. You have reached the top. The house is probably another 100 yards away from you, and everyone else is looking up at you expectantly.
Yeah, so he'll kind of look down at everyone and like point and indicate, there's something here, and he's gonna try and stay quiet while he's up the top here. Is there anywhere for him to like hide behind, like any other rocks or something that he can
Yeah,
take
there's a
cover?
bunch of rock outcroppings,
Yeah, so he'll do that, and then he'll kind of motion for everyone else to come up.
small little mountain bushes. So everyone else coming up behind, I'm gonna keep the DC the same, but you guys can roll on a D24.
Before Visici comes up, Barclay would be like, "Ah, let me see those hands there. It's just like I don't know how you're gonna climb without with those hands like that." So he's gonna try and lay on hands to see if he can lay hands on hands. Um, and rolled a 15. And are we the same alignment or?
Um, I actually forget my alignment. I think
I'm
I'm
lawful.
neutral. I don't think we are. Let me.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Vestici is evil as he can be.
Hmm.
Yeah. There's alignment.
And their core stats, I think.
No, I didn't have the right tab. I'm chaotic. Yeah.
All right. Well, you get 1 die.
Should be enough to heal your hands.
What kind of die?
You're a thief, so it's 1d6.
Oh, okay, it's hit point die. Okay. And we have 1 point. All right.
It softens over, some new pink skin shows up. They're still a little sensitive, but you think you're going to be all right.
Much appreciation there. Yeah. Well, okay, let's get up this.
All right. Just take it
So,
easy this time.
All right, so
so am I up to the D24 or am I still at D20?
you'll be at the D24. It's tender, but not enough to inhibit you from climbing. 30 feet, not a problem. The
All right.
spikes are working great. You feel secure. Ooh. You're
Uh,
halfway
we'll,
up, so you know you're not going to fall all the way to the ground.
we'll
All
burn the luck here. Let's see. 4 points of luck.
right. 7 gets you up to 60 feet.
All right. And
And the 15 will get you up over the top. Um, Looking back down, you see your two companions down there. You see Burkham kind of crouched behind a rock, and you see the same visage of the house in the distance. All right, who's next?
Daphne,
I
you
want
want
to
to?
rip the band-aid off and do it. Can I do it?
Do it.
All right. So Daphne is going to pause for a second, rub her hands together, and begin the ascent. Here we go. Fingers crossed. And it looks like Ooh, we will be using agility.
See what you got, Daphne. Let's see what kind of leg strength you got. Wow. Well, that's a D20, Cirrus. You're supposed to be rolling a D24.
Oh, sorry. Let me redo that. Apologies.
Make you stick with that punishment.
4 plus 4, that's 8. That's fine.
That would have been, yeah.
Here it
Make
is.
you roll a D4 and see what you get.
All right. Whoa! I'll take that.
There we go.
All right. So 30 feet, not a problem. You scamper up, finding some good footholds.
Now the 6 I've got here. I don't feel pretty good about that, do I?
That does not feel very good. You feel your hands slipping.
All right. We don't know the actual number yet, so I'm gonna shoot for a 10.
Well, we know a 7 worked.
Yeah, you know the 7 works.
Oh, I'm sorry. Then yes, I'll just
Yep,
burn
you
one
only
point
need
of
a
luck.
7.
Thank you, Sarah. So up the middle part.
All right, 7 gets you up, and 19 will get you up to the top. And only remaining is our cleric. Barclay?
Barclay's gonna try agility
Can we?
here.
Can those of us at the top kind of pull as he's climbing to help him get up?
Absolutely. I was wondering, I mean, Burkham probably could have pulled everybody up, and then you wouldn't have had to make any checks. But unfortunately, he has started climbing before you started pulling. So I'm going to take that 3.
I rolled
Um,
the wrong die. Sorry. Also
you
there.
dirty dog, Mark.
How
All
do
right.
how do I roll the D? How do I roll up? Is it control? How do you click?
/ roll base 1d24.
Oh, I can't do it off the agility button thing.
Maybe, but
All right.
I don't think so.
All right. I'm thinking Foundry. Sorry about that. Where you can do a control click. Oh, but it's still so bad.
It's
So
worse, technically.
it's worse. But Barclay's going to remember. He has. He's going to call out to his. And remember, he has a golden ring with a clover. That he had picked up from before, and that when we were in the funnel, and the golden ring of clover I have in my notes is once per day I can reroll a die with a +1.
that is correct.
Is that a +1 die or that's just +1?
+1 for the roll. So,
Okay, so he's going to use that one.
so you are using that special power, which allows you to reroll the d24, and now at a +2.
Right, that's better.
So you
Much
make it
better.
up to 30 feet, and Vasici comes to the edge. And Vasici, what do you call down?
Hey, do you want us to pull you up?
Well, yes. And he's like, why didn't we do that before? And he's like tying the rope around his
Well, I thought we
waist.
spiked it
Extra.
in.
You did spike it in, but you still got to climb. You know.
I've got another rope I can throw down to him or whatever. If the rope, I didn't know if we were just using the spikes for footing, if we tied the rope on the spikes or what.
So the way I
You told me.
understood it is that Sarah said he had spikes and a rope. So I thought Sarah was spiking like a catch rope, and your independent rope was still hanging there. So almost like 2 ropes,
That's the way
and
I heard it
it
too.
would
Yeah.
it would catch on like a belay kind of thing.
Oh, okay. I don't know how climbing works.
So Barclay
So
will be tying the rope around him, saying, "Well, then pull me up. Why am I doing this?"
So Barclay ties the original 100 feet of rope around his waist and makes a nice loop for his foot. And so he's excellently suspended there. And if all 3 of you, just give me a strength check to make sure you don't tumble over the edge or the rope breaks, he should be up fine. Sirius, can I get it? Yeah, perfect. And not a problem. You guys yank him up, all three of you, and you have your 100 feet of rope. The other rope that Sirius had is, you know, nailed to the side of the mountain, but you guys have arrived up on top.
All right.
How far away was that cottage?
It's about
100
100 yards.
yards. So you said there was a goat, and then we're seeing smoke coming out of chimney, I presume.
Correct. And this
Um,
is going to be our little mountaintop map. Let me get rid of Agnar here. And you guys are going to be right down here. Let me draw a quick little house in there. The house is right about there.
how far are we away from it approximately?
About 100 yards.
30 yards, you said?
100?
100. Okay.
Is the goat tied up where that mark is you just put on there?
Yeah. I'm drawing a little goat face.
Cute.
What do you guys want to do?
Just quickly look around. Like, is there anything
The smoke is
like
coming from
else?
here, correct?
It is coming from here. Looking around for what else, Sarah?
Just to make sure there's nothing else. Kind of around the sides. Are we kind of on like a little plateau here? Like, does the cliff continue on the other side of the house?
Let me show you the picture again because it looks very similar to the picture. The mountains kind of continue in the back, but this
Oh,
flat area right here where the house is, I mean, it's
right.
hilly and rocky, but it's a nice little kind of landing.
Okay. Well, maybe Vasici, can you do a perimeter, look around back, and meet us up front?
But sure, yes. I'll as soon as I get my character sheet open, do a little sneak up to the side of the house away from the goat.
Give me a sneak check, please, Lou. And what did you get?
Got a 10.
All right. You come up to the front, back. Where are you going? Move your character
Over to this
over there.
side here. Yeah.
You don't see anything on the side there or behind it. Um, you do hear some snoring coming from inside.
All right.
There is a window on that side, as well as one in the front.
Anything about the construction of it that would help me know what lives here? I mean, are the doors man size? Are they smaller or bigger? Is there any sort of scroll work that's like, oh, that's in, artistry or anything like that?
There's no scroll work. It looks to be slightly shorter than man-sized door. Like you think you could walk in, but you just might have to duck your head a little bit.
All right, I'll come back and report my findings.
Barclay says, like, if I can get a little closer, I can see if something evil is inside there. I have to be within probably 60 feet.
Well, it doesn't sound
Um,
like they're on alert if they're snoring, so
uh,
let's move forward.
okay.
So let me cast a couple magic spells on everybody, magic shields on everyone before we get too far in. So give me 1 second. Let's go with Lou. This is you.
Of those of us here, who's the most personalitied?
Who's the face of the group?
Yeah.
Cirrus, that is a 24.
Wow.
Oh, 24?
Yeah, you get to add one more for your spell bonus for your level because it's a crit.
Oh yeah.
But
Excellent.
yeah, you could probably just send Lou in there now. Lou is
Actually,
going to be
Lou, I think you're
jamming.
gonna love this. Hold on. This is an amazing benefit for you, and it's gonna last.
Caster conjures a shield that protects Lou. The shield lasts for 1d4 turns, has 3 benefits, +4 to AC, blocks magic missiles, and mundane projectiles, reducing any damage from an arrow, sling, bolt, dart, or other weapon by 10 points per attack.
Wow, that's awesome.
For 3 turns, which is 30 minutes, Lou.
All right. Let's keep.
All right.
I'm gonna drop a couple more of these while I can.
All right, and while you're conjuring up the next one, if everyone in chat wants to go ahead and type in any kind of emoji to enter the drawing, in about 20 minutes before our break, we are going to be raffling off a $10 gift certificate to the Goodman Game Store, where you could pick up just about any PDF you wanted with that gift certificate, or save it for something bigger. So if you're out there and you're listening, type any emote into the chat right now to enter the drawing.
And Burkham kind of says to the group, he says, "Look, this might be someone friendly. We may be able to talk to them. I like talking to people," which he says very awkwardly, and he'll actually pull out something that he picked up in his previous adventures here, and which is this little perfume, and he's going to just squirt a little bit of it on his neck before going in
Did
or
I
getting
already
near.
tell you what that perfume does? Or this is the
Yeah.
first time you use it? Okay.
No, I used it once before, and that's how I learned what it does. It wasn't helpful then, but now I know what it does.
All right. So when we were getting to Burkham, the spell has been lost. Burkham has just squirted on some sweet smelling perfume. And are you guys ready to head up to the house?
Mark, you
As
saw the. Mark, you did see that you got 8 rounds of a bonus, right?
Yep.
Perfect.
Yep.
All right.
+4 bonus. Awesome. Thank you. So as we get close, Barclay is going to cast Detect Evil to see if he can detect something evil inside of the. If I have it on my list here, I have to update my spell list. There we go. Detect Evil.
Nice.
Nice. And that's a 19. Up to 120, all directions, creatures of opposite alignment are automatically detected, as well as objects inherently dangerous in nature, such as traps, cursed weapons. Evil creatures do not receive a will save to remain undetected.
Okay. You do not detect anything from the house. You get the slightest twinge coming from the goat that he's slightly annoyed that you guys are encroaching upon his house, but not evil, just annoyed. But from the house itself, nothing around radiates as evil.
I'm not picking up anything evil from around here.
Well,
Maybe
then
we can talk. Yeah.
let's knock on the door. Perhaps they've seen something.
Before we do that, are there any signs of dried blood or anything on the door?
There are not.
Very well. Is there a knocker there? Just pound on the door or whatever?
It looks to be like a wooden door, no knocker. Daphne and Barclay, are you guys hanging out back there, or are you guys heading up to the house?
Ah, sorry, I didn't move myself there.
Daphne
I'm up.
will creep up a little bit closer, but cautiously stay back a bit.
All right. And Jess, enter the raffle if you're out there. Even though she works for Goodman Games, probably can get anything for free. We're going to be taking our break here in about 15 minutes. So if you guys enter any emoji into the Twitch chat, we're going to be giving away a $10 gift certificate. So you guys are at the front of the house. There's definitely snoring coming from inside. Who's knocking on the door?
Burkham. Hello.
Aggravated dog. Uh, Sudden, you hear a little bit of snorting, a couple minutes of silence, and then the snorting resumes. The snoring resumes.
He'll knock again, a little bit louder. Hello.
Snorting again, but this time, silence afterwards. The snoring does not resume.
Fasici, do you see anything? And he like kind of gestures to the window.
I actually want to see if I can open the lock here on the door. Does the door have a lock? Maybe it doesn't even. I guess I need to try to see if I can open the door.
The door does not have a lock. It looks to be like a wooden door that just has a little catch on it that you can just push open.
I'll quietly try to open it and kind of peer inside. Do you want to sneak silently roll or anything on that, or?
I do if you want to sneak inside, or if you want to
Not really.
hide.
I just want to. Yeah, I don't want to like actually enter, but I want to open the door and see if I can kind of, rubberneck around it to see what I can see.
All right. So give me that hide roll.
Got a 12 on
Uh,
that.
so you open the door, and the door opens right up with a creaking sound. Looking inside, you see a fairly comfortable looking kind of wooden chair with some cushions on it, a small campfire, fireplace kind of thing with a fire in it. Um, and that's about it. I mean, there's a table and a chairs, a small cupboard, a bed over in the corner with a small little foot locker. You also notice a door in the back. And that is when a dwarf comes around the side of the house. What are you doing here? And you can see that he has a crossbow leveled at you guys.
Oh, greetings. We weren't sure if anyone was home.
I'll try
No
to
need for
position
that.
myself in front of everybody.
Why are you entering my house?
There
We
have been
knocked.
problems at the mines. The workers are disappearing. There's evidence that something up here at the top of the mountain that might be a foul.
It's no concern of mine.
Well, have you seen anything? People being taken? Any movement around here?
No, I haven't seen anything. I keep to myself. Obviously, not a trait that you share. Trying to break into my home. I was just having my afternoon nap.
I apologize for waking you. We don't mean to intrude. We're just trying to help our friends
What are you doing up
find the
here?
missing ones. Our friends have gone missing. The miners down at the base of the mountain.
Give me
We're
a
trying to locate them.
give me a personality check, Burkham.
Right.
And what does your perfume do? It gives you a bonus on that?
+2, but I think it's only with human. Well, I wrote humans, elves, halflings. ... Did I have incomplete notes, or is it only against those people?
I'm gonna have to go back and check, but we'll say
Ooh.
it'll work.
Well, that's without the bonus. Was it
Yeah.
a nat
So
20?
not a problem. You see the crossbow begin to lower a little bit. The concerns of those below are not mine. Go away. And he begins kind of walking past, kind of brushing, gets to Vasici, and he's waiting for you to move, Vasici. It appears he's going to go back inside his house.
You
Do you get
muted
out
me.
of the way?
Muted. There we go.
Sorry, I'm muted. I'll take a step to the side slowly, and I want to take a real good look at him. Is there anything different about him than other dwarfs I've noticed?
He is very old. He is ancient. His beard is completely gray, as well as his hair. Uh, not really reflected in the picture. He does have some rings in his beard, four of them. They look to be golden, copper, and bronze. Otherwise, he just looks like a dwarf.
Okay.
Out of character, because Burkham wouldn't say this, but does anybody want to ask about the Tanaheim clan?
I figured it's probably more your place than mine.
Would Burkham recognize those rings?
Yes, those are honor rings. And so dwarves wear them as achievements in battle or crafting, master crafting. Many a quest has been taken up. And so if your beard gets shaved and your honor rings get stolen or taken from you, many a quest has been given where family members have went to claim their lost brethren's honor rings. They're passed down through families.
So I think Burkham would try to continue the conversation, and he would kind of use that as a means to try and persuade him into opening up a bit more. Talk about the miners and their families and the honor, and how we're just trying to return them to their home, um, and to ask him if he knows anything that might help or point us in a direction.
Don't know anything. I live on the top of a mountain. How am I supposed to know about the affairs of everyone below? And he slams the door.
And Burkham just kind of stands there with the door slammed in his face and says, "Well, he's not helpful."
So Barclay will try. I don't know if this may not fly, but we'll see um, what Judge Matt says. He will call out to he'll call out to him, please help us, and with the word help, he's going to try and cast word of command. I don't with emphasis on the word help.
I
Is
would
that
absolutely allow them.
yeah? All right. Let's see, word of command. Oh, I haven't added all the bells. All right, I'm just gonna click one of the other ones. I need to add them all in here. So that is a 12, so it just barely passes.
Success.
Yeah,
What do I get there? Is it a will
you
save?
get a, yep, you get a save. If not, you must obey the command for 1 round. It's a will
Yeah.
save versus
He,
the 12.
he has a +1 to his will save, so that is going to be a 15. I told you, it's no concern of mine.
Worth a try.
Matt,
What about all this hammering? Surely that is of concern. You can hear it all the way up here.
There's always hammering. Go away.
are there signs that this guy is like self-sufficient, like he's got a garden and stuff, like he really truly doesn't need anybody, he lives up here alone all the time?
When you went around the back side there initially, you did notice a small garden back there.
So Daphne will call out, please, we'll compensate you for your time. I have a jar of honey that I made myself, that I've had from the first adventure as that stuff that you get as your level character. And I will take it out of my bag and say, please, this is honey that I've harvested from my own bees. Um, I'll give it to you as a token of friendship, as a thank you for your time. We just have some questions.
Can't answer any of your questions. I live up here alone. I don't want any of your honey. I just want peace. Why do you keep bothering me?
What about the blood that's on the trail down below?
I told you I don't know of anything below.
And what's above?
The mountains. Go away.
Good sir, just one more question. You look to be of an esteemed age. Would you happen to know about this Tanai clan that once worked in these parts?
Silence inside. Not a peep. And you guys wait for a minute. Wait for another minute. And the door swings open. What did you say?
Forgive me, I from another place. My accent is thick. I ask you, you've been alive a long time. Do you not know of the Tanai clan? Huh?
I know of the Tanaheim clan. I am of the Tanaheim clan.
This cannot be. We were told that they are all dead,
They're
killed
not
by
all
a
dead.
curse.
I believe myself to be the last living descendant of the Tanaheim clan. Where did you hear that name?
It's the miners down below. They speak of it as they say that this mountain is cursed because of the Tenahe clan's dealings for magic.
Um, you might as well come in then. And he leaves the door open, goes back to his chair.
I think Burkham would be. I want to say he's skeptical. Um, yeah, he'd probably be the last one to go inside actually. After like looking at this guy, and then he would come in, and he would eventually say,
Well, Vasici, are you going inside?
Yes, I'll come
All
in
right.
and I assume everyone else is coming in with me. If not, I'll suddenly turn around and be surprised.
Daphne and Barclay, are you guys going in?
Barclay will go in.
And Daphne?
Yeah, sure. I want to roll up new characters like everyone else. I'm going inside.
All right. So now that everyone else has come inside, Sarah, go ahead. You were going to come in last, and what were you going to say?
"Yeah, I think he would just come in and kind of like cross his arms and say, the Tanaheim clan, it's a myth."
Many say that. I don't need to prove anything to you. I am what I am. If you seek my ancestral halls, then only death awaits you. There's nothing there but evil. And he spits on the floor.
And then
Nice.
there is truth that there may be some curse that affects the mountain, huh?
It's pride and ambition that took my clan. And he begins relaying the story of his family. We were once great craftsmen, as most dwarves are. We moved into the Hammered Mountains and made it our home. But the mine and the ore near the top was so great and of fine quality that everyone got ambitious. The elders got greedy. They struck a bargain with a demon, a devil, evil incarnate itself. And he spits on the floor again. In order to imbue the weapons with even more perfection and magical qualities, they ended up sacrificing themselves. The demon just bid its time for years and years, waiting until the opportune moment. Because for demons, what is 30 years but 30 seconds? And when it was released, it was still bound to the hall, but it killed everyone. My mother, bless her soul, was the only one to make it out that I know of. I've lived here as penance for my clan, and here's where I'll die.
Kind of look around at everybody.
I mean, Burkham would probably say something rude, like "serves you right."
You gonna say that?
Yeah, he does.
Well, why do you think I live up here? I punish myself every day.
Punishing yourself accomplishes nothing. You should be working to right your wrongs.
Daphne, is it possible to defeat the demon? From is this something we can do, Daphne?
Daphne,
What do you mean?
You seem to have your way with the arcane. Have you read anything about uh, sending demons and such back to their unholy abodes, banishing them from our world? Is possible? No?
She would lean into it and she'd say, "Honey," with the jar of honey still in her hand, so there's a pun here. I've been making this up as I go along for the past couple of weeks, so Daphne doesn't have any arcane training really, so she wouldn't be familiar with anything like that. But I think actually Mark might be the best person to ask about this because Mark, I think you actually have some tangent training or education in this stuff, right? Because you're not making up this whole faith thing as you go along, right?
Barclay had a vision, like he had a near-death experience and met his goddess in this close to death. So, yeah, I don't know if he'll have any divine inspiration on facing a demon. He might ask the elf, sorry, the dwarf says, so what what kind of demon was this that they made a deal with? Tell me more about this demon.
alas, I cannot. I was a wee babe, and when my mother escaped, she didn't speak of it. She
And
told me the story once, and I know not what evil lives there. But
how is it she escaped and nobody else did?
she was already outside of the hall for
Where
when
is
the
this
demon
hall?
killed everyone. That's the secret that everyone wants to know. And my punishment is sending everyone back down, keeping that place locked forever. If there's evil there, if these workers that you seek that have gone missing, they're already dead. Just go back down and forget about it.
Those
Well, unlike you, we can't forget about it. We don't leave our friends behind.
I haven't forgot, but there's no one there for me to save. All I can do now is save others from going there and dying needlessly.
the others didn't go there; they were taken. So what if there is a evil in this hall? It is now finding its way out because
Yes,
the miners did not depart on their own; they disappeared unwillingly.
kind of ponders on your words for a moment and looks at all of you a little bit closer, a little more judgingly. Do you really believe that ye four can cleanse the mountain of the evil inside?
Without a doubt.
I expect I expected the answer from the dwarf, but what of the humans?
I'm not certain of anything in this life, but it is a mine. It is probably full of jewels and precious minerals. No, it's perhaps worth the danger.
Cirrus?
I
Mark?
Go ahead, Cirrus.
Daphne says, "Yeah, I think we can do this. We've been through some crazy things. Like there was this whole carnival, and there was all this death and this crazy stuff, and then there was the invisible cow, wasn't quite invisible, and the blah 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 blah. I think we can handle this. Just a D.
Last chance for anyone to enter the emoji. DM Samuel, Mean One. If you guys aren't entered, just type in any emoji into the chat. We are about to draw the winner for a $10 gift certificate to the Goodman Game Store. He looks at you guys and he says, "Well, if you can cleanse the evil in my clan hall, I'll give you a map and I'll show you how to get there. But your deaths won't be on me. I've done everything I can to dissuade you, but you do look somewhat capable. If you give me a solemn oath that you'll do everything in your power to right the wrongs of the past, I will show you how to get there."
Oh, I will mistake my reputation upon it for sure.
All right, that's Vasichi's oath.
Yeah, Burkham would say something clever about swearing on the good of um, you know dwarven kind, and he would also say, oh, maybe not yet. Go ahead.
Barclay
Mark
would
and
say
Steve.
like, uh, yes, but I think you should come with us. I think you should join in this. Um,
Yeah,
help
and
us. Help
that's
us
what
with
Burkham
this.
was gonna say. Yeah,
Don't just
he'd
give us a
piggyback on
map.
that.
Lead us there. Come with us. Join us in this righting of the wrong.
Those days are long behind me. I can barely hold up this crossbow. I would be more of a detriment to you than an aid.
If you can hold up a crossbow, then you can fire a crossbow, and therefore you can fight and join us.
I fear if I go there, the evil will sense my clan blood if I get close. But any element of surprise that you might have would be gone with me with you. It would be death. Do you still wish me to go?
Burkham would say yes, and
We
he
can
would
sit
make
this one
another
out, eh?
case that like if you want to live your afterlife with the dwarven gods in honor, you will do all you can to right this wrong in life.
All right, and we hadn't heard from Daphne. Daphne, are you gonna get about oath?
I think you should go because you're going to die up here of old age, regretting that you never went with us to fight that one last battle to clear your honor and your family's name. Or you're going to come with us and die fighting, clearing family's name in a great, great battle. It'll be the best death you could have ever imagined.
So, is that an oath that you promise to cleanse the hall?
I promise to cleanse the hall, or
A
all
lot of
my
talking
friends,
from this one.
or all my friends will die trying. Oh, and I
Hannah,
will, and with me with them at their side.
Hannah stands up and walks over to Burkham, accepting all of your oaths. He takes off one of his honor rings from his beard. My mother gave me these when I reached an age of adolescence. And he hands you one of the copper honor rings. If you can cleanse the hall of the evil there, I don't have faith that I'll be of much help, and the demon will probably kill me as soon as I step foot on the land. But take this, and may the honor of my family, what it once was, be with you.
Burkham will reach out and take it. He says, "We will do what we can, always."
And we are going to take our 5-10 minute break, everyone. Last chance to enter the drawing. If you just got here, thank you for joining the Reaver Express. We are doing Dungeon Crawl Classics live play. Enter any emoji in the chat, and we're going to be drawing the winner in about 10 seconds. Elena, barring any last minute entries, type in any emoji to enter the drawing. What size dice am I going to be rolling?
Nice.
All right. Perfect. All right. The drawing is closed. The winner is number 11. Who is number 11? All right.
Nice.
Congratulations, Luau Lu.
Woot.
One of our players, they don't get anything for playing. They sacrifice their time. So we encourage them to enter the drawing. Luau Lu, you have won a $10 gift certificate to Goodman Games. And we always give away something on the stream. So in 2 weeks, we will be giving something away and doing more live play. But we're going to take our only little 5-minute break, and we will see you guys in a few minutes. Welcome back to the Reaver Express, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Our players have just traversed up the Hammer Mountains, trying to find some lost miners. They've run into a very old ancient dwarf named Hannes Tanaheim, who has informed them that his family halls are cursed, that some type of evil lives there, and they are. Are you guys headed out there now, or are you gonna wait until the morning?
I see no reason
I
not
think
to
now.
go.
Yep.
I mean, nighttime doesn't really matter. We're going into some presumably under mountain hall, right?
Yeah.
All right, so it is about 3 o'clock. It is going to take approximately 8 hours. Hannes does give you a map after he gets ready. He gets a pack of dried food together. He releases the goat after giving it a pat on the head. You can see that he carries 2 hand axes with him, a dagger, and a crossbow. He's put on some very old chainmail armor that has his family crest on it, which I believe I have a handout for. Which
By
looks
any
like
chance,
that.
does he have some? Does he have any rope that we can use to replace the rope that we spent getting to his house?
He does have 1 coil of rope, but he doesn't have much use for it up here in the mountains. After 8 hours of travel time, since we've already done quite a bit of traveling, let's get to some good stuff. Oh wait, don't look! I forgot to turn on fog of war. You guys just got a peek there.
Just realized I was muted. I wasn't looking. Though it was tempting.
I still
While
have
we're
your picture of the
traveling,
shield.
while we're traveling, I probably would have asked him about the anvil on the shield there. It looks like it's broken or something.
So he would have, you guys can traverse and ask questions along the way. He would have told you that was to denote the magic that was being imbued in the weapons. He would have relayed the story of his clan, very similar to the rumors that you have heard. They made some kind of deal or pact with a demon or a devil to imbue the weapons with magical essence. They had to sacrifice their own clan and their own greed, and their greed got the better of them. Actually, let me see the story here.
I'd ask him too if his weapons are magical.
They're not. Everything that the clan had was lost in the halls.
Right.
He would also give you guys the map to the hall in case anything happened to him and remind you of your vows. Centuries before, the clan's founders, eager to distinguish themselves among the other dwarf clans, struck foul pacts with infernal powers too wicked to name. The legendary Forge of Kings, source of the clan's fabled renown, was fueled by deviltry. But no bargain struck in wickedness can end in good, and every item created in the Forge of Kings bore the foul taint of its diabolic origins. As the years passed, the wickedness took root in the dwarves themselves. Corrupted by their desire for ever greater mastery of their crafts, the dwarves willingly offered up sacrifices to the internal powers, first captured foes, then slaves, and finally their own kin. The Dour Lord's depravity won diabolical favor, and the dwarves succeeded in summoning a devil into their midst. Bound by its summoner to the hall's forge fires, the devil was a slave to their will. In time, the dwarves came to believe that they had mastered the fiend, but in the end, they would learn to rule their error. And he will tell you that the demon pitted clansfolk against clansfolk until the entire clan was dead. So coming up to this area here, you guys can see the mountain path, obviously. To the right, that is a river or a mountain stream.
You changed the map?
I did not put you guys back. Thank you. You guys are going to be in the bottom left-hand corner.
There we go. That's the river on the right?
Yeah, the grayish, kind of darker gray. Let me clear off a tiny bit more for you. And then we will get into the description of what you see. There it is. My home. If you can call it that. Let's see here. Rising out of the lake, the once mighty tower is now little more than a trio of crumbling walls. Built on massive blocks of rough-hewn stone, the tower must have once been several stories in height. Through the ruined gates, you can see collapsed timbers and debris, and a cold wind whistles through the stones. You hear a low chanting that seems to rise and fall with the wind, as well as the sound of the hammering from inside. So the two separate sounds, there's like a chanting that goes on, and then also you have the sound of the hammered mountains, unrelated. What do you guys do?
What does the chanting sound like? Is it actual words?
It is not. You can't quite make it out, but you think it's in Dwarven. The ghosts of my clan that live here.
Do we see any disruption in the land between here and the tower? Can we see footprints in the muddy banks of it or anything like that? Drag marks?
Give me an intelligence check. Uh,
11?
there aren't any drag marks. No, you don't find any drag marks. You don't find any signs of activity per se. It does look like this path is walked. Um, there's activity of not activity of a fight or anything like that, but definitely people have been using this.
Dennis, is there any other way inside?
Now, only the way that you see in front of you. The doors, the tower is what protected and guarded it from everyone. This is as far as I've ever been. And the map that he shows you just kind of leads right up to here and doesn't have anything else beyond. I don't know what lies ahead of us. I know the dwarven engineers from the Tanaheim clan were excellent trap makers, so you can expect there to be traps of some sort somewhere. What are you guys going to do?
The tower's crumbling though, right? So
Yeah, it is falling apart. The left wall, the wall kind of in the northwest is the side of the mountain. You guys will see it if you get a little bit closer.
So, as we approach the entrance, Barclay is going to cast Detect Evil. See if he can sense anything coming from up ahead.
Give me your Detect Evil roll.
Detect Evil, where is it? There it is.
Ahead of you, you can see what used to be a pair of iron-shod wooden gates that once defended the tower's entrance. One gate hangs loosely from a single iron hinge, while the other one lies rotting on the ground. A 6 is a disapproval increase.
It says not with me at the moment. I cannot tell if there's evil ahead.
It's the evil of this place. It's everywhere. It surrounds us.
I assume it's dark.
I mean, it is dark. It is nighttime. It is dark out. There are no lights inside this area.
Perhaps I will try. Let me try one again. Carpessa, please. There's great danger. Show me where the evil is that lies ahead.
Oh
No.
no.
No. Sorry, that I'm getting a busy signal.
Roll me a 1d4, please.
Yeah, not just a busy signal, but worse.
And
You
do
got
you
that
have
like
a
screeching sound that like hurt your ear.
It was the sound of like I said, not now.
right? And you asked again, impertinent. Do you have a luck modifier currently?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, yeah. Like I have a luck of 3. Um, so that would be a 3, so that makes it a 5, right?
It does.
Yeah. What's 5 for disapproval?
Disapproval table. What page is the disapproval table on, Sears?
Hold on. I don't know that off the top of my head. Hold on a second. It's like 140 something.
It's one I can never remember. A 5. The cleric must undergo a test of humility. For the remainder of the day, they must defer to all other characters and creatures as if they were his superior. Failure means he immediately loses all spellcasting ability for the remainder of the day. Luckily, the day is almost over.
Yeah.
But
And I just you all have to tell me. I will do whatever you do. Carpessa is not happy with me right now.
Barclay, now is not the time to lose your faith.
Very well, then I shall not lose my faith. I will do exactly as you say.
you guys can see inside that there appear to be very large statues of some sort.
I'm gonna light one of my torches.
Yeah, Burkham's gonna take out his lantern and light it up.
All right, I will put some light on Basici and Burkham. There's nothing to do now but go inside. Right behind you. And he has his hand axes out, both of them.
And so I cautiously move forward and kind of just holding a lantern up, mostly like looking up as all of his time underground has taught him in the some of the newer mine shafts to always be checking above him.
So it looks up into the open sky, and you can see the stars up ahead. It looks like the interior of the tower and the roof have all collapsed and
Mm.
are strewn about the ground. Um, when you went inside, Burkham, did you want to hop over you stepped on the crumbling door, or did you open the other door?
Um, I think he would have opened the door.
The interior of the tower is littered with debris, thick wooden beams, broken slate shingles, and fallen stone blocks. The half-collapsed roof leaves much of the tower cloaked in shadows. Statues, 4 of them in all, stand in the dark corners of the tower. Each depicts a dwarf arrayed in battle armor. The chanting is louder here, though still muffled. As you push the gate to one side, the hinge snaps off and the door comes crashing down. Vasici, were you behind Burkham, or would you have stepped over the fallen door?
I had ran my figure across the door there when I put it in there, so that's the route I probably would have taken.
The fallen door?
Fallen one. Uh-huh.
All right. I need both of you to make me a reflex save, please.
16.
Do you want to go forward or backwards, Burkham?
Forwards.
So as the door comes crashing down off its hinge, narrowly missing you, you dive forward, landing roughly on the ground. Vasici, at the same time, you're just coming in and you step on the. Do you want to stay in a 7?
I think I will burn some of that thief luck here.
You think you're going to need more than a couple.
Okay, something didn't have. Let's see, that's.
How much luck are you going to burn?
Okay, we'll do 2. 3, that's a 10. I'll stay at it. We'll see what happens.
You have to stay at it now. But
Yeah.
as soon as you step on the wooden collapsed door, it crumbles beneath your feet, caving in. And let's roll initiative as 5 horribly nasty orange glowing beetles immediately begin pouring from the hole beneath it.
I'm going to open the turn tracker.
I do. Thank you very much for that reminder.
Oh. Take my token first. Wow, a good initiative for once.
Well, we haven't seen what they've rolled yet, so they can still roll a 20.
Well, I feel like so far this campaign, Burkham has yet very rarely rolls even above a 10 on this initiative.
Great.
Yes.
Ooh, fire beetles.
So, Burkham, you're going to be up first. You are prone, laying on your stomach. You hear Vasici, the wood crumbling beneath his feet. It just completely collapses, and he's fallen into a very shallow, kind of 4-foot deep pit that was underneath the door.
Yeah, so he would stand up and turn to see what happened, and start to see, I guess, maybe these glowing red fire beetles. And he would take a step forward, and he had his lantern in one hand, and his sword in the other. So his shield is not equipped right now. But he's going to just initially, yeah, he'll keep the lantern in his hand. No, he's gonna put the lantern down and then just lunge forward and try to stab one of these fire beetles that's next to Besichi.
You wouldn't be able to stand up. You wouldn't be able to stab it because getting up from prone would be your action. You'd be able to move, but
Oh,
you wouldn't
sorry.
be able to take it.
Oh, that takes my action. It's not my movement. Okay, my bad.
Right.
Then yeah, okay. In that case, I can't do anything else. Then it's just standing up and moving.
Do you want to? Yeah. Do you want to stay there, or do you want to move somewhere else?
Well, he'll move closer to the hole so that he can take an action next turn.
Okay. Daphne, you're up next.
All right. So let's tell these fire beetles how much I love them. Nothing says love like freezing hand.
Knew you were going to use that.
That would be a
Naturally.
20, which is
Ooh,
an
yeah.
Ooh,
Oh,
pretty nice.
Nice.
What happens?
So I get up to 3 targets.
There are
Um,
5 of them.
and I will roll the damage individually.
They are within 10 feet of each other.
Oop. 4 damage, 6 damage, and 7 damage.
I'm going to mark that off.
And there is
Uh,
no save.
The first one that you blast, you can see the chill wrap around and the kind of little casing of ice. Um, but the yellow glow inside its chest flares to brilliance, and you see it melt off. They are taking the damage though. So the other 4, 6, and 7.
4, 6, and 7.
You have not killed any of them,
That's not good.
but they are. You have wounded 3 of them severely. And Barclay, you're going to be up. Do you want to stay there? Are you moving at all? Daphne,
Um, can I move there? Is that viable?
you can.
All right. That's what
Barclay, you're up next.
all right. So Vasici is fallen into what was a pit, and
Vasiki
so
has fallen into the pit, so
yeah.
he's like up to his chest, maybe his waist a little bit.
Right. So Barkley's going to reach down and try and help. Grab my arm. Let me see if I can help pull you out, and try and help pull Vasici out of the pit
Grazie, grazie.
and away from the beetles if I can.
All right, Vasici, Barclay's hand is out. Do you want to grab it?
For sure, yeah. Get out of
All
this
right.
pit.
So not a problem. He can lift you right out. So I'm going to move you kind of back, right here. Is that good?
Sure.
You were out of the midst of them, and Mark, I'm going to call that your action for lifting him
Yep.
out. Vasici, that would just be your movement action. So do you want to do anything else? Lou, do you want to take an attack?
Oh, sorry. With the staff that I have, can I smash one of the beetles closest to us, or is it still too far away?
No, absolutely. You can smack one there, right up in front of you.
All right, let's do that then. See weapon.
A 10 is not going to hit.
All right. I'm
Oops.
just gonna roll with that for now.
Yeah, only 1 point of damage. Your staff cracks it on the back, but it's hard carapace. It doesn't seem like you did any damage to it at all. The fire beetles, 2 of them come up here at Burkham, and they scurry fast. And I got a 9 to hit Burkham and a 13.
The 13 hits.
You're going to take 4 points of damage, and when the
Oof.
mandibles bite into you, you feel an acidic kind of residue spit exude from the fire beetle's jaws, and it coats your arm in this orangish kind of glowing spit that you feel soaking into your skin.
And he just kind of like looks down at it and in sheer pain he cries out.
The other two, one is going to go at Basichi. One is going to go at Barclay. And Basichi, this is yours. 6. I'm assuming that doesn't hit. Barclay
Nope.
at 14.
He's like, this armor is so good. This new armor, it doesn't hit.
Nice. And the other one is also going to go after Barclay again. 13 is going to miss as well. So you've got 2 on you. So they are coming out in full force, having disturbed them in their lair. Canis comes up and he says, Beetles, I can't stand them. And he is going to try to hack at one with his hand axe and hit. Very nice. Oh, this one right here, he kills it. Just brings his hand axe down and chops into it. It's the one that already had taken some frost damage, but it splats, and you see the glowing orange ichor from its body coat his axe. And Burkham, it is going to be your turn.
Okay, Burkham is not happy. That was like a big hit. His arm is just like on fire. It feels like, um, but he's kind of alone in this room, and he's got these two fire beetles in front of him. So, he's gonna like just drop his lantern, and then take his long sword, and try and swipe at the one closest to him. Try and get it off.
All right.
Oh, and I'm a dwarf. So, and he's gonna try to, um, I guess maybe like he's gonna try to hit it like in such a way with his deed to knock it back in hopes that it like falls back into the hole, and
Okay.
just put some distance between him and it.
All right. I like it.
Um,
10 is going to 9 is going to miss.
9 misses. So yeah, and that's all he can do.
Uh, you don't have your shield, right? Because you were holding a torch.
Correct.
Daphne, you're up.
All right, let's try it all again. Freezing hands again, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what happens.
You saw Burkham take a huge bite.
Well,
Is it worth it?
is it worth 5 points of to not lose it?
All right, I need a decision.
Oh man, let's do it so it comes off. Let's cast it so it comes off. We'll spend the 5 points of luck.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
That's a
And it's
big
only going to
burn.
do 1d3 points of damage, but heck, why not? It's so single blast of frost, 1d3 points of damage to the one on Burkworm.
Okay. There is one on Burkham that you have already injured previously.
That's the one I want to go after. He gets 3 points of damage.
That one freezes up, and you see its limbs stiffen in front of you, Burkham, and it ceases to move, and its body just kind of sits there. Barclay, you're up next.
Barclay will pull out his mole mallet and give a good mallet whack against this thing that's in front of him.
Love that we still have weapons from the funnel because it just like reminds me every time you use that thing of the carnival. Great.
Yeah.
It's not a lot. It only does 1d5, but it's all I got, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
keep whacking it until I find something better. So that's
And
19 for 5 points of damage.
are you
Nice.
hitting the one right in front of you?
Yeah.
That one, just like Gallagher smashing a watermelon, you bring the giant mole mallet down, and you just hear its body splat underneath it. And when you lift it up, there's like that sticky, stringy of ichor
Ah,
on the bottom of your mallet. That one is dead. So there are two left, Vasici. One in front of you and one over in front of Birkin.
All right, the one in front of me is getting the staff. Hopefully.
17
17
hits. Yeah.
for damage of
Uh,
1.
you crack it on the staff, and you bent one of its little antennae that are sticking out. Mandibles click ferociously at you as it attempts to bite into your leg.
Ooh, that'll do.
So that is going to be 4 points of damage. Man, I'm rolling max damage on these guys. And as it bites into your leg through your shin guard, you can feel the acidic bit. Uh, you're going to take 5 damage total. Burkham, you would have took another D4 of damage, but I didn't. I had to look up and see what that 1D4 was for, so you got lucky on that one. This one you might not be so lucky though, because this other one is going to try to bite into you, but only with a 10. So Vasici is taking a very big hit.
Yeah, he fell. He's down on the ground.
You have 6 hit points, right?
I had lost 2 and only regained 1 of the 2 previously.
That's true. All right. So yeah, didn't bring the old tokens over here. You see Vasici drop as the beetle in front of him begins gnawing on his ankle. Hannes rushes forward. I'll help you. He's gonna miss as well. And Burkham, we are back up to you.
So this acidic residue, is it still on me then and like continuing to hurt me?
It is not on you. It is still on you. It is not hurting you. It is making your arm glow.
Okay. Then yeah, he's going to just turn his attention to this other fire beetle that's still threatening him and try and kill it.
Your arm is going to glow for one day, and it's going to have a little 15-foot radius.
Okay.
It's going to make you stand out.
don't need to carry the lantern anymore.
Yeah. It sounds like a good thing. But with this deed, I'm gonna try to stab this thing in such a way that any spray sprays away from me.
Okay?
Ah,
Oh, all right. And you got
That's a
some.
nat 1 fumble.
What kind of arm are you wearing? What's that fumble dice?
That is a D8 fumble die.
All right. And modified by your luck,
Luck is currently an 8, so
-1.
yes. So do you want me to roll that?
Yeah, go ahead.
1d8, and it's a -1, or is it reverse luck for fumble?
Could be +1.
+1. Okay. 7.
You
That's
drop
bad.
the weapon. You have to retrieve it or draw a new one on your next action. Not too bad.
Okay, that's not too
So
bad.
you are currently defenseless. And Daphne, you are up.
So Vasici's down on the ground next to me. Can I take that potion that healing potion that Burkham gave me from down in the mines and administer it to him?
It's going to take you one action to find the potion and another one to give it to him.
Oh, wait, that's fine.
So you want to go through rifling through his stuff. You do locate the potion. You're ready, set up to give it to him next round.
Well, it's my potion. It's my potion I'm giving to him.
Oh, you already. That's right.
Sarah, you gave that to me, right?
That's right, yeah.
That is true. So you know exactly where you put it. Yes, you can administer that to him. Roll me a 1d4 Visici.
A 2.
Uh, you choke down some liquid that is very tasty, and you feel strength return to your body. Color returns to your cheeks, and you're coughing. You're prone on the ground, but you are alive.
Woohoo!
And now we're up to Barclay.
Barclay's going to try and dispatch of this last one that is trying to probably chew on Basichi again. Whack it with the mallet. Try for another splat. 14 to hit with 3 points.
14 is very close.
Oh, that's going to have to stay there because I got nothing to burn.
Understood. A 14 misses. Visici, you need to get up because you are prone this action. But you can stand up and you can move if you want, but then you would incur an opportunity attack.
Could I throw my dagger from a prone position?
Yes. Allow it.
Okay.
You don't even need to throw it. I mean, it's right there chewing on your leg. You can stay prone
okay.
and
Well,
pull your
I'll use
dagger
the
out and try to
staff.
stab it.
No, I'll continue with my staff if it's right there on my leg still.
Okay.
I don't know if it's scurried off when he came by. So
No,
yeah,
no.
I'll scramble for my staff and just try to knock it off my foot.
Give me an attack roll. A 17
17.
hits. You
A
crack it
mighty
again.
1 point of damage.
This time in the other antenna, and its mandibles clatter together. It's not sure why you're not becoming its food yet, but it is going to try to eat the rest of your leg. It is going to get a +2 because you are prone. So that is going to be a 21 to hit. As you take 3 more points of damage, and you have another glowing leg. Both your legs are glowing now. Basichi has went
Down
back.
again.
So you see this thing kind of just eat on Basichi, and he goes, ah! Hannes runs over. He's already there. It's like, get off him, you beast! But he is going to miss. And we are back up to Burkham.
All right. Wait, I don't want to point this out, but didn't this fire beetle do anything to me?
Oh, you're correct. It did. Thank you for pointing that out.
I mean, it's gonna
So it's
take me down,
so
but
excited to eat Lou. 13?
with yeah, that hits.
You're going to take 5 points of damage.
Burkham
As
is
it
down.
bites into your thigh. Things are going bad, Daphne. Two
Does
of your
anything happen for taking as much damage as I have health? Is massive
no,
damage a thing in DCC? Okay.
no, you just go to 0. There's no negative. Daphne, 2 of your party members have dropped at the gates of the Tanaheim home.
Wait. Burkham's down. Vasici's up.
Visici
went down
was up, but Visici's other leg is now getting chewed on by the beetle.
Vasici, you're down again? Get the... Okay, so... okay. Ah,
Are
damn
fire
it.
beetles something we should run from?
All right, let's play whack-a-mole on keeping Vasici up. So I'm going to rub some of Daphne's ointment that she gave me. She gave me a salve that heals 1 hit point. I would like to rub that all over Vasici. So I'll
It's
stabilize him with that 1 hit point there, salve.
Mark off a use. Visici, you keep getting glimpses of the afterlife and a peaceful, field of wheat where everything is right and nothing is bothering you. But then just as quickly as it appears, it disappears. And you're right back staring at the beetle, gnawing on your legs. Barclay, you are up.
Barkley's a little concerned, glad that to see that Daphne could take care of Vasici, so he's gonna try and work his way over to Burkham, who's now down, to see if he can get over and help out Burkham here with the lay on hands.
Okay.
So to my class, lay on hands. Oh, and not only is that a failure, that's another
Oh no.
disapproval.
4
2d4 this
going
time.
down.
My God, that's a disapproval of 3. Um, 2d4.
It's okay if I die, I can play Hannes, right?
That's
Okay.
plus 3 is an 8.
So not only do you have to defer to everyone, you immediately incur a -4 penalty to spell checks on the specific spell that resulted in the disapproval, which is lay on hands. This will last
Oh no.
until the
Man.
next day.
Whew.
It is getting worse and worse, viewers. This might be a TPK.
This might be.
Oh,
We have
did,
just gotten in the door.
did fire
No,
beetles?
one person got in the door.
The fire beaters are the demon. They're the demon.
Vasici, it is your turn.
What was the healing on that salve?
Only 1 point.
Okay, so I have 1 point. All right.
You have 1 hit point. You have
And
this.
my stamina is now down to 5. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So mechanically, if I get up and run away, what am I looking at there?
If you get up and run away, it's gonna get a try to hit you. But you will be probably not. If you get away from that one attack, if it misses, then you'll probably be safe because it's got 2 other targets.
Hmm.
You have damaged it just for 2 single points though, so it's still
Yeah.
looking pretty
Other
healthy.
than that, it's in full, huh?
Yep.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'm gonna chance that, and then I'm gonna get up and kind of hobble out away from the doors. Maybe hobble towards the river to try to wash off some of this acid. I mean, I know it's not doing any damage to me right now, but I don't, probably painful, and I'm trying to get it out of
And
there.
you try to scramble away from it, and it latches onto your leg, and it begins pulling you back into the hole. You're gonna die a third time. Um, Unfortunately, you have not gotten away, and it is just it's your leg is caught in its mandibles. It's trying to tug you into its hole. Hannes runs up. Oh well, it's his turn. So the beetle has been getting attacked by Hannes, so it's gonna momentarily let go of you, seeing that you're not trying to escape anymore. It's gonna try to attack Hannes, and it does for a
With a
crit.
crit.
For a
Holy
crit.
crap! Wow.
Oh, this is awesome.
4 on the monster crit table. Get to the monster crit table real quick. I really do need to print these out like Jess suggested so I can have them. PC is disarmed. Weapon lands 1d12 times 5 feet away. So it runs up and bites into his hand that has the axe. He has one in the other hand, luckily, but this axe that he had in his good hand is 15 feet away. And he is going to take 4 points, 5 points of damage total. And you see, he's old anyway. And you see him, he is gushing from a wound on his arm. The other beetle, seeing a new target and the one he was munching on not moving, rushes over to Barclay. But this time fumbles. A little bit of luck on your part. 6. So as he rushes over to Barclay, his mandible is caught in Burkham's armor, and he cannot separate himself. As
Nice.
Burkham, what kind of armor are you wearing?
Leather.
So it is caught up in the leather. Some of it's hooked on the mandible as he bit into it. And he is trying to tug and pull away from Burkham, but is unable to get away.
Perfect.
Hannes is severely wounded, but tries to lash out with his other axe and misses. Burkham, you are down. Daphne, you are up.
He's dead now because it's been around.
It's true.
The technical term is we have not yet rolled the body.
Yes.
Yeah.
His only hope is a luck check. That's what we're at.
Vasici has just went down again in front of you.
And
You want to try and save him again.
there is literally, I am out of healing. I'm sorry.
All right.
There is nothing I can do. So I'm going to rely upon the only thing that is reliable, which is freezing hands. So let's see what we can do here with freezing hands. And I'm actually going to kick in the karmic casting to bump that up a notch. So let's roll. Let's start this rolling here. Oop. Okay, that's a 21.
Nice.
Karmic cat and I rolls a d5. So this is a 26 results on karmic casting. Grape, I'm going to need a ruling from you. It says up to 3 targets. And I'm interpreting up to 3 targets, meaning that I may choose less than 3.
I agree.
Okay. So I'm only going to choose the 2 beetles and not have to choose Vasici. So this is for 1, and this is for 2.
All right. Which one would you like the 10 to go to?
Well, they're both kind of lost causes.
The one in front of you has been injured slightly. The one by Burkham has not been injured at all.
7 to the one in front of me, 10 to the one by Burkham.
Neither of the. Oh, I take that back. 7 is just enough to kill the one in front of you. And the one behind over by Burkham is still up. But you see the frost overtake its body. And the orange glow in its chest again flares to light to kind of melt that off. There is one left, Barclay. Burkham coughs his last gasp, spitting out blood. And you're up, Mark.
Vasici is still possible to heal. He's down 2, right?
Vasici is possible to heal until his
right.
next turn.
Even with
No,
bullet
that was. I think we just completed the round that I sat out of. So I think
No,
it's a roll body. No.
No, you
I'm
went
at the
down.
end of the order, so.
Correct. If we're on Barkley, Barkley can still do something, but after Barkley's turn,
Right.
we'd be roll the body on Vasici.
Oh, okay.
So Barkley will come over. -4 penalty on lay on hands and just see if anything Carpessa is going to help. So that 9 is really a 5. And my
So
disapproval goes up 1 more.
perhaps it's this cursed place. Fasici, you have now passed into the afterlife. The golden field of wheat is in front of you. We'll see if anything else happens. As the beetle rushes after Barclay, thinking he is trying to escape its grasp. A 19 to hit for 5 points of damage.
That's gonna
Ah,
That is going to be
with
9 points of damage to Barclay.
and Barclay falls flat on his face.
No, I knew
Da-
we shouldn't have come here.
Daphne, it's all up to you.
Place is cursed, cursed, I tell you. As he tries to cut into the beetle, that is going to miss. Daphne, it is you and Hannes left alive, and Hannes is grievously injured.
All
The
right.
beetle is also very injured.
Um, so this is for all the money. I do have to. I'm not going to use freezing hands again. I'm actually gonna burn. Yeah, I'm gonna burn 3 points of agility because I have to downcast this because I bumped it up last time. So, all right, I just reduced it by 3. Let's cast the spell. See how this goes. Um, 3 points of spell burn is being added to this roll. Boop a doop. Ooh, so that looks like it's a make, but it's actually not. Not maybe not. It gets reduced by 3. So I'm actually at a net of 10. If I can
And,
burn 2 points of luck,
I
sure,
mean,
why not?
you can burn 2 points of luck if you want to.
I'm gonna be down to a luck of 2.
All right.
Um, so then I am at a net of I'm at a net of 12. Here we go. 1d3 points of damage. That does 2 points of damage to that beetle.
It is still alive.
The little beetle that could.
It is barely alive. Things die! I should have stayed home. The beetle, seeing Barclay go down, rushes at Hannes and hits Hannes for 4 points of damage, dropping him. It is just you and the beetle left, Daphne, and it is your turn. The beetle is stumbling. It's You can see the frost burn. You can see the glow in his chest has diminished greatly. It's one of its legs has snapped off from being iced over, but it is still coming forward.
All right, I'm spell burning 2 more points. Um, and
Same spell?
same spell, but it's back to being balanced, and I'm just gonna leave it there.
All right, so regular, you're not upcasting?
Yep, it's just gonna be balanced here. So let's 2 points. All right, there we go. 16 blast of fire, 1d6. All right.
I feel like this is the ultimate spell duel.
4 points of damage.
4 points of that damage kills the remaining beetle. As its body shudders and the light inside its chest goes out. You see the 4 bodies around you glowing with the orange spittle all over them, mixing in with the blood from the mandibles that ripped into their flesh. What do you do, Daphne?
Wow. I've just increased my personal wealth by 5-fold.
You sure did.
I'm going to have, I mean, even with that, I think I'm out. I can't, yeah, we've already passed on Hannes his round, so I've got to start rolling bodies. I can't heal anybody, even if I can
Anus
find a
just
potion.
went down this round, so well, yeah, because it would take you a little bit of time to find
It would be my
Burkham
next, yeah,
in his
yeah.
potion. Yeah. All right, so Vasici, make me a luck check, please. Vasici, as you turn his body over, his eyes flutter back to life.
I've seen things. Ugh.
Vasici, he has pulled you once again from the wheat fields and you are alive. Roll me a 1d3, please. So you've lost 2 points of stamina from dying the first 2 times.
First two, yeah.
Now you're going to lose 1 more point of stamina. If that drops your modifier for stamina, then that will affect your hit points by 2. So that will lower your maximum hit points by 2. And you will be at a -4 to all your rolls for the next 4 hours. 8 hours, I think. And you have some very nasty scars and now walk with a limp. Barclay, roll me a luck check, please.
This is gonna have to be a very lucky luck check to pass.
That,
Oh my God, did I roll a?
let's see,
How
you
do I
rolled a
roll a 0?
3, and your luck is 3. That is your luck or better. So that is a success. It
Ah,
rolled a 0 because your modifier is -3.
yeah, my luck is 3 too. I can't believe I just rolled. I passed
You
the luck check with a luck of 3. Carpessa, you've heard me. You want me to live on.
you flip Barclay's body over, and Barclay, you check for a pulse. There's just a soft beating there. You slam on Barclay's chest. Barclay, wake up! Wake up! And all of a sudden, Barclay jumps up, once again having seen Carpessa's warming embrace welcoming him to the afterlife. He is jerked from that image, and he knows that to call upon her here, there is great evil somewhere inside. An evil that she wants him to exterminate, but it will be difficult. Heading over to Burkham's body. Burkham, can you make me a luck check, please? Barclay, roll me a 1d3, please.
Wah, wah, wah.
You turn Burkham over. You are going to lose a point of stamina, Mark, and if that drops your stamina modifier, then you will lose 2 hit points as well.
Stamina or agility with a 2?
Agility.
Yeah.
And Vasici, Lou, that was bring your stamina up by 1 and lower your agility. That was my mistake. Thank you. You turn Burkham's body over, and Burkham is gushing from the artery in his thigh. Blood is pooling underneath him. Burkham, no! Slapping, pounding on Burkham's chest. There's no response. Burkham is gone. Flipping Hannes's body over, he has a mid luck of 10. Hannes has also met his demise.
If I can add, I think like when you're rolling Burkham over and you're like pounding on his chest and you realize that he's gone, and he kind of flops over and that copper ring that Hannes gave him just like falls off and just like rolls across the floor.
Daphne, what do you do?
Daphne is just crying. Oh my God, that was horrible. That was horrible. Bert's dead, and we still have the rest of this place to go through. Oh my God, I chipped the nail. I chipped the nail. Bert's dead.
What is the plan of action for our 3 survivors? Do you guys want to go deeper? You have the map. You could get back here at your convenience. Do you want to go back and get the load of copper? Do you want to go stay at Hannes's house? Do you want to bury the bodies? What do you guys want to do?
Yeah.
When we get down, has enough time progressed that the copper's almost ready?
Yeah.
It would be another 4-hour trip back to Hannes's house, which would put us at the next day.
And
Are you
probably
guys
rest
are
in
you guys
8
gonna
hours down.
if you guys rest and then 6 hours down, it was 5 hours. 5 hours down. You'd get there probably at the end of tomorrow, back to the mining camp. That would be the 2 days required to get the load ready. Now, I'm not saying the load is going to be ready, but that is what they told you. They said they would have the load ready in 2 days.
So I think that we should probably loot the bodies. No offense, Sarah, but I think we may actually that copper ring
Yeah.
that you dramatically drop. I think we may end up having to wave that at the miners for them to get their rears in gear, and scare them a little bit. But I think we should loot the bodies. I'd really like to give Burkham some kind of burial or something appropriate to Burkham really deserves it. So we have to make sure we do that. I don't know if we're going to be able to bring Burkham all the way down with us. That burial may have to be back at Hannes's house or like on the mountain, whatever. Go back down, get the mining cart, finish the delivery. In theory, pick up Sarah's new character along the way.
This is
Yeah.
Hannes's home, so his body being buried here would probably be acceptable. Burkham, enjoyed the mountains. Burying him at Hannes's house in the Hammered Mountains mines that he worked in might also be acceptable to him, overlooking, the vast country of North Haven. Um, Mark, what do you think? What do you think of Sirius's suggestion?
Well, I agree. We need to give these two honorable dwarves a decent burial back, maybe take them back to Hannes's property and bury them there, and then maybe rest at Hannes's for the night, since it is the wee hours, and then, um, so I think even just that far is good to, where we go next from there, we can decide after we rest and bury the bodies and have a proper ceremony.
Lou,
Agreed.
you think? All right,
All in on
agreed.
what he said. Yeah.
You guys bury Hannes's body here, among the statues of his elders. Take some time doing that. You transport Burkham's body back to Hannes's house. You find a nice spot overlooking the mountain. Bury Burkham. Rest for the evening. Everyone will gain a point of spell burn or whatever, and you will also gain 2 hit points, as this is inside a comfortable establishment. And then you head back down to the copper mine. Is that correct? Did I miss anything?
No.
Making it to the copper mine the next evening, Morik is standing there as you guys enter, and he sees only the three of you. He rushes forward. Where's Burkham?
So it's tragedy at the mine, at the upper mines. Cursed beetles attacked us, killed half of us.
What the hell were you doing up there? What upper mines?
I
The mine.
hand him the ring without comment.
No.
Burkham
Burkham.
fought a noble fight, but
Damn it.
unfortunately he is with his kinfolk now.
Ooh, you shouldn't have went up there. It's a good lad. Damn it. Damn it all. And he throws the ring on the ground and storms into his little cottage there. You guys can kind of rest there. The load is just about ready. The next day, you can begin taking it to Fallon. You'll notice as you guys are sitting around, kind of still recuperating, that Merrick, nobody touches the ring, none of the other workers. And Merrick comes out probably about an hour later, and his face looks wet, and his eyes are red and bloodshot. And he picks it up, and he kisses it, and he puts it on his beard. and then he goes back into the room. And that is where we are going to leave for this evening. It was not how we imagined it would turn out, but it is what it is. The dice always rule, um, and the dice were not in some of the party members' favor. Burkham, I love that little addition of dropping the honor ring.
Yeah, no, that was great. It's always good storytelling when someone dies.
It is, and life is not certain in DCC. Death can come at any time.
You bet.
And
This
go and come again and go and come again.
Yeah, you can bounce and get basketball death like Visici.
Visici died 3 times, but the gods still have more in store for Visici, and that is the beauty of DCC, that you can always have a chance to come back. We will see you guys in 2 weeks. Sarah, do you have any final parting words?
No, I don't think so. Just that, yeah, I put in the chat there. I think Burkham died doing what he loved, which is protecting his friends. So to him, it was an honorable death, and yeah, it was a good run.
And what was Burkham's original profession?
Miner. He was one of the miners here.
This is one heck of an end for a miner.
Yeah.
Fitting end. He died in the mountains that he loved. Sarah,
Indeed.
do you have any closing words for us?
Me? Oh, yes. I'd like everyone to remember what we learned today. First of all, keep in mind selling shirts that say that my character died because Josh couldn't attend the game tonight, $20 a pop plus shipping.
This is true.
I know at least 3 people that are going to be buying this shirt because the character died because Josh wasn't here. So, but I will miss our lost companion, and we will carry them with us always. And I think this is why we have to come back, because now it's a matter of vengeance.
Oh yeah, Barclay is definitely on. We're coming back. We're gonna get our revenge for losing our good friend Burkham.
Yeah, for Burkham.
Yes.
They are referring to Josh Pop, who is Zarathon, who plays Agnar, a warrior. And it is absolutely Josh's fault that everyone died.
100%.
He has got COVID, and we wish him the best. Josh, we hope you get well, but this is all your fault. Mark, do you have any closing words for us?
Just we'll be back and get revenge for Barkham for yeah, we may be leaving now, but I think we'll all be back at some point to get revenge on this death.
But what's funny is like the demon or whatever's here, it wasn't really his fault or her fault. It's the Beatles. They're like, why are you trying to kill me? It's the Beatles, man.
Yeah.
And Lou, do you have any closing words for us?
Oh yeah, we'll be back, as they said.
I can't tell you which module this is yet, but this is one written by Harley Stroh. And in the D&D Red Box, I feel like that down door right there, in the D&D Red Box, it had that carrion crawler underneath. I feel like this is kind of a nod to that. And, if you wouldn't have stepped in there, then, you might have been able to successfully get around the Beatles. But this place is dangerous, lurking around every corner.
I had the opposite thought. I thought that if I messed with the door on one hinge, it'd fall on me like it did her.
Yeah. So that would have set him off too, but at least you wouldn't have been inside. So the door crashing down, something would have had to been managed with the doors for you guys to get in there safely. But Harley, this is a nasty one. Harley wrote a nasty one. Thank you everybody for joining us this evening. We hope you can join us again in 2 weeks, June 8th. Actually, June 8th is not going to be our next show because there is a special auction on the Goodman Games Twitch channel that night. And I still need to talk to my players, but I'm going to see if we can do a June 9th Saturday morning cartoon episode on Saturday, June 9th.
July 9th.
July 9th. Thank you. So we will get back to you, and I will post that in Facebook and on the Discords. Thanks, everybody, and have a good night.
Good night.
Rio.